Folks, we have some breaking news we want to take you to right now. We have some live pictures of a chase that is taking place right now in the Heights area. You're watching live pictures from Sky HD of some police cruisers chasing a suspect who has left the road, went in through some ditch there, and has now gone through trees. You can see these police cruisers hanging right there, going in between these trees. Have not been able to get a clear shot of the suspect from this point, this vantage point. But again, this is in the Heights area, and again, they just left what we think is I-10 right there, just right off the road, and went down that embankment. Yeah, headed toward downtown, and when we first saw this picture, it looked like there may have been a white van involved, and it looks like we're going to be able to pick up the chase. That is a white van. Andy Bass is in Sky HD with the latest. Andy, do you know which street this is now?
All I know is this is a little side street off of I-10. He took a little grassy cutoff, I could say, and wound up on this back side street. I'm not too sure exactly where we are right now.
Okay, but we've been watching very erratic driving. When we see this person leave the freeway and basically four-wheel drive through an area there, not on any roadways, and now taking corners at pretty high speeds.
Yeah, absolutely correct on that one. Has no regard for anyone on the street except for himself, and they hopefully get this guy under control before he does some serious damage to him or someone else. Okay, well now, Andy, we've just heard that he is definitely in the Heights area right now on, I believe, Vonner Road. And of course, you can see him drifting through the center median right here. And this is a great time. If you know anybody that might be traveling through the Heights area right now, you definitely want to get them on the cell phone, let them know this chase is going on. It looks like we have a cruiser trying to block him. He's now taking a left. It looks on another street there off Vonner there in the Heights. And he seems to be, a lot of cruisers are surrounding him, but he has managed to take a couple of turns here and there to keep eluding police at this point. Yeah, actually picking up some pretty high speeds on some of these small residential streets in the Heights. We know that some of those streets are very narrow. There's a lot of cars parked along them and a lot of pedestrians out. Especially as we head into a long holiday weekend, we're also going to be finding a lot of traffic on some of the more major streets going through the Heights, making another turn. And we don't know why this person is running away from police at this point. And Andy, having some close calls in an intersection there. Okay, we're hearing he's just south of the Heights now, just west of downtown. And as Alona was saying, you've seen him have a couple of close calls here already. And he's definitely picking up speed right now as at least one cruiser is behind him. But you just hate to see this happen right now on a busy weekend when, you know, a lot of families have loaded up the family car and are heading out to what is probably, hopefully, will be a very fun weekend. But he is definitely picking up speed at this point. It looks like some vehicles are pulling over to let him go by as they probably see police cruisers coming up behind him. But it looks like the chase not letting up just yet. Okay, we're hearing he's just coming up on Kirby. We saw part of the bayou that he just crossed over there, and taking a turn right into oncoming traffic to make a U-turn. We see those cruisers right on his tail the whole time. Obviously, as Eric said, some other drivers understanding what's happening and a lot of them not. It looks like this police cruiser is going to either get up next to him, now backing off a little bit and trying not to aggravate the situation, making another turn as he goes under this underpass. We're going to have to just widen up, and he comes out the other side, literally driving in circles at this point. Yes, he is. We saw him go under that overpass there. Almost hit that one vehicle head on. Luckily, they stopped. He's slowed down at several points to make a few quick turns, but again, he's picked up speed once more. This whole time, that one cruiser has been on his tail, and you know, you were hoping it'd come to an end here at some point. A couple of times when he slowed down very much, but it looks like that has not happened yet. And again, you hate to see him hit these speeds in what looks to be some residential areas right now. Yeah, this is west on Kirby, getting toward the River Oaks West Gray area where the shopping center is there. Some major turnoffs into some residential areas. And these are usually areas pretty heavy with traffic as well. They're very popular for people to walk around, go shopping. And we're going to be seeing some more traffic here pretty soon, no doubt. And, you know, you wonder where these people think that they can run to with all the helicopters and all those police cruisers right behind them, going through some intersections without slowing down. We're not seeing this person using much caution, going to do another turn here, a left-hand turn, again, in that same River Oaks area, and not spending a whole lot of time slowing down either as they make those turns. Yeah.
He is now in River Oaks, eastbound on Del Monte. We're hearing from our producers at this point, and a residential area. You see vehicles parked on the side of the road. You hope and pray you don't see any families out right now, because anything could happen at this point. Just hope police can get in front of him at some point to possibly slow him down. But he, again, is in the River Oaks area, just turned off of Del Monte, has hit another street off of that one, and is now on Shilton Street, I believe, and has now hung another left.
Yeah, maybe turning back onto Kirby. I can't tell if we've gotten that far back or not. But actually, this is on San Felipe. So now headed on San Felipe, we have an officer that's pulling up, about to get in front of him.
It was on the wrong side of the road at this point as well.
Absolutely. And still driving on the wrong side of the road, right up next to this into a turn lane. And he is forced off the road by traffic, goes through a parking lot and comes back on around. Still makes it through with all that traffic, having no idea what's happening. This is on South Shepherd now. And again, some of these roads get very narrow, and we're going to be seeing more traffic. Yeah, he's hit a two-lane road, a four-lane road altogether now, going into oncoming traffic. He picked up speed there. Looks like he's heading down another residential street, possibly some sort of complex. And it looks like he's definitely winding his way through. Now he's gone up apartment complex parking lot, went over the lawn there, you just saw. Police are having to pursue him as best they can, but he's definitely gone off-road a few times now, back from when we first saw him leave I-10 over there in the Heights area and go down that embankment. Yeah, and I've seen them also passing a police car. They tried to block off the road there. I also saw just somebody out walking around, so I'm certainly seeing some people out and about in that area. And actually getting, I think, pretty close to the 59 at this point as well. But we sort of see this person driving very erratically in circles, so there doesn't seem to be an end game destination here. It's just simply a matter of trying to stay away from the officers, who are staying very close behind, and as we saw, getting up ahead at certain points, trying to block off those roads, but not being able to successfully stop this driver. Yeah, and this is no small vehicle. It appears to be a Ford cargo van, just from what I can see right here, kind of a silvery pewter, maybe dark tinted windows, but that is one of the biggest vehicles you'll probably find on the road. They don't get much bigger than that, and he is definitely taking it up to some speeds, high speeds, on what have mostly been residential areas this latter part of the chase. Andy Bass staying right up above the scene in Sky Eye HD. And Andy, at this point, we don't know why this person has taken off in this van, do we?
No, we have no idea why he's running from the police right now, and that's kind of dangerous for itself in and around the city. Absolutely, and especially recently, you know, we've seen some very dramatic, very dangerous, and even tragic endings to some of these chases. These people driving at very high speeds and taking some really extreme measures to avoid officers. This is on Dunleavy now. Continuing down and swerving into oncoming traffic, doing whatever he has to do to continue to get around this traffic. And Andy, I know you're still with us. You've already seen from your vantage point, we could see as well from your live pictures, but he's had several close calls already. Yeah, lots of close calls coming into a couple of intersections like this one that he's into right now. Good thing that a lot of people are listening for the cop lights and the sirens in and around that area, so they can take precaution, because this guy has absolutely no recall for his life or anyone else's right now. He's just trying to get away, and he doesn't care what happens to him or anyone else at this point, it looks like. Yep, we're back on West Alabama, going through some more intersections, and Andy makes a great point. You know, we often watch as so many police officers stay so close behind these chases and question how close they should be, but at the same point, they're keeping all those sirens on, making all that noise, and a lot of those drivers in the area are then given somewhat of a heads up that there's something happening. We've seen quite a few cars that have managed to pull over and get out of the way just in the nick of time. And he's come very close, yep. It seems like within inches of a few other vehicles, and I believe now he is westbound on Alabama, if I'm hearing correctly. West Alabama, yep. Okay, and yeah. Another big road. He's out of that residential area. We've seen him go a few times, but again, you can see, like Alona was talking about, several vehicles slowing down as he's starting to pass them. We can only imagine, because they are hearing and seeing, well, that patrol cruiser right there behind him. So eventually going to get up closer to the 610 loop, and I believe at West Alabama there's not a way to pass under it. You would have to either turn left or right, as far as I recall, and getting close to the railroad tracks in that Afton Oaks area.
and cruising between some traffic there, slowing down a little bit because there is an intersection crossing over into oncoming traffic.
Looks like this possible. Well, we were hoping that that would be the end, that traffic would slow him down, but it looks like he's trying to navigate this intersection here and has managed to do it yet again, down to one lane right there. And at that intersection we just saw him go through was actually curvy. Again, it looks like, well, we know at least that one patrol cruiser's there. We would imagine several others are following suit as well, from a larger camera shot. But he's managed a few close calls, but at this point it seems like patrol cruisers are playing it somewhat cautious, do want to avoid any possible accidents they can and just try to get him to hopefully corner himself at some point.
Yeah, getting up to Buffalo Speedway now, so it's still going to be a little ways before this driver gets up near the loop. I thought he was a little further over to the west. We're clocking speeds around 40 miles an hour. We see those getting faster at times and slightly slower at times, but certainly some of those speeds are too high for blowing through these intersections and going through some very heavily trafficked areas. The police cruisers keep on trying to at least get up beside this driver, but it always becomes impossible because of other traffic out there on the road. I'm not sure if that was Buffalo Speedway or if we already had passed that. And going to continue past to Edlow and Timmins over toward the Wesleyan area. And again, usually an area that's pretty heavy with traffic at 4:38 in the afternoon.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of astonishing here. You would think at some point, especially given the area he's in, that a crowded intersection like we all have to navigate at some point, especially as we hit rush hour, that traffic would have been backed up at one of these lighted intersections and he would not be able to get through. But for him anyway, he's been slightly lucky, and that's not been the case. He's been able to get through several intersections where it appears there is essentially no traffic at all. But at this point, patrol cruisers are staying on his tail, and we've seen a couple of them get up close like they are again in that center median. Not exactly sure if they're going to attempt a maneuver or not, but at least maybe trying to signal or communicate with him to some degree.
Yeah, and these drivers are really slowing down. Of course, some of them coming, up to intersections. This is one of the examples of an intersection. This is near Wesleyan, and we can only assume that there was traffic in the way, so that's what this driver does. Cruises right over and ends up basically taking a left-hand turn, even though it was through a parking lot, onto Wesleyan, and going to be heading just past Richmond in a moment and down toward the 59 Southwest Freeway. So we'll watch out to see if this person gets on the freeway or not. But again, taking off at a pretty high speed whenever there is any open area there in the road, getting a little further ahead of officers. And again, this is south on Wesleyan, right in the heart of Southwest Houston, and closing in on what could be the heart of rush hour on an early three-day weekend.
Yeah, and to kind of just backtrack, folks, this chase, we picked this up, I want to say about 15 to 20 minutes ago, and when Sky IHD arrived on the scene, at that point, he was on I-10 in the Heights area. That's when he went down that embankment, through some trees and through some park area, and then essentially went through several residential areas and has now ended up on this point. We've seen several patrol cruisers following him very closely. We've seen several close calls, and now he's definitely picking up speed here.
Yeah, getting on to the 59 Southwest Freeway outbound, I believe. Is that correct, Andy, going southbound?
I believe it is the outbound side, Ilona. I'm trying to get my bearings down here.
Yep.
It is. You're correct.
Yep, southbound, and at this point he'll have to decide very soon whether he's going to be driving on the loop or stay on 59. Looks like he's going to stay on 59, crossing all those lanes of traffic to get over, and we've said this quite a few times. This is usually an area that's extremely crowded and difficult to merge, but managing to make their way over. We don't know who's driving this vehicle or how many people there are inside. Looks like some very darkly tinted windows, so at this point officers probably have no idea whether or not there are passengers inside, but as Eric mentioned, pretty large van with a lot of seating capacity, and unfortunately in a situation like this, a very heavy vehicle. We are also hearing reports that traffic is clear all the way into Sugarland, which is, Andy Bass, usually something we wouldn't see at this time of day. It's probably thanks to the long holiday weekend and people kind of stretching out their rush hour, leaving early or leaving a little bit later.
Yeah, there it is. Some good news right there. If a lot of people did get out of work early today, that they might leave Southwest Freeway open a little bit more today. As I look up a little bit into the distance, it doesn't look too bad for him. So hopefully the cops are going to give him a little bit of room to get around, and then have some spikes up there to kind of try to get him quarantined and done off this chase.
Yeah, and Andy, we definitely hope this comes to a close, but is it possible to pull out a little bit so we can see exactly just how big and how many officers this chase is now involving? Yeah, we definitely see 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, there's at least half a dozen plus cruisers now tailing this chase suspect as he heads southbound on 59 into the Sugarland area. We've seen him pass Chimney Rock here, a couple of exits back, and of course shows no signs of slowing down at this point, as at least it looks 10 cruisers tailing him now. But we got to imagine at some point, as he approaches Hillcroft and into the Sugarland area, traffic has to catch up with him, and he's going to have to deal with that backup.
And we've seen some very erratic behavior on the part of this driver, because when we picked it up, it was coming off of I-10. That chase had been on I-10, and this driver had decided to go four-wheel driving through basically a wild area and driving across grassland and through trees, not on any road or pathway, just passing or approaching the West Park, and the West Park tollway exit will be coming up in just a little while, staying on the main lanes of I-59, the Southwest Freeway, southbound towards Sugarland right now, passing the Bel Air exit. And the officers seem to be doing a great job of getting the rest of the traffic out of the way out there. We have seen some patrol officers pull up in front of the van, but not taking any measures to actually try to stop the van, probably just trying to get the rest of the drivers out of the way and in a safe spot.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing a very good job of kind of encompassing him, like you were talking about, Alona, making sure they keep everyone else as much out of harm's way as possible, giving us an erratic chase here. But yes, we've seen several go up ahead. This one's staying on his right side, kind of flanking him, and there is at least another 8 patrol cruisers behind him at this point. The speeds are kind of hard to gauge from this area. I'm not sure, Andy, if you'd be able to tell. I mean, he's passing other vehicles, but we're seeing those vehicles kind of slow down, of course, because they are noticing the police presence there. Looks like he's hit the shoulder.
Trying to avoid stop sticks. They actually put stop sticks down in the middle of the freeway. I'm not sure if you were able to watch that on this rather tight shot, Andy.
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, they tried to put 2 spikes out there and missed them both. The guy went off into the shoulder. The cop was on the right side of him, trying not to let him exit off the highway and keep him on the highway. As you guys mentioned, a couple of officers tried to bypass him and get up there and clear the traffic ahead of him to put those spikes down, but his guy just keeps picking up speed and making it more difficult for the officers.
And he has exited, though, correct? What are we driving on now? Is this the frontage road?
I believe it is the frontage road, correct.
Yeah. Okay, and again, heading down towards Sugarland. Haven't hit the Beltway yet. So this is just the frontage road heading down towards Sugarland, and there is more traffic. It looks like he's going to get back onto the freeway, getting very close to people, driving on a 1-lane ramp, and as you can see, going right through those middle median areas without much regard for the other cars out there on the roadway, making its way back onto the main lanes of traffic. And we've seen this person take some pretty radical and drastic steps to avoid those stop sticks as well.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like his window's now open. He's messing with his side mirror there. Not exactly sure what he's doing, but you can see that hand there. From what we can tell, that window was up earlier, and that's now down. And as he got back on 59, we definitely saw him hit that guardrail, do some damage to the front right fender. But it looks like he has definitely picked up speed now and is really moving. And you kind of saw him adjust that mirror. And I guess he just needed to fix that so he could get a better scope on cops as he approaches Gessner at this point. But it looks like he is moving very fast at this point. And you've seen that van kind of sway a couple of times. We don't know if he lost. I guess he has not lost a tire at this point, but it looked like it was very hard to maneuver that van there for a couple of times.
Yeah, officers apparently watching one of the tires that they think is pretty low. It's difficult for us to tell from this vantage point, and especially at these speeds. But you don't know how much control and steering and handling this driver has over the vehicle at this point. He has been able to maneuver around traffic, but as Eric said, some of it almost seems like it's a little bit wobbly and fishtailing. pulling over onto the right-hand shoulder again, maybe just to pass that vehicle. And Andy, we've really seen these speeds pick up a lot just in the last minute or so here. And again, that van now exiting off of the Southwest Freeway back to the frontage road. This is the Bissonnette exit, we're told, and it looks like he's going to be getting up to an intersection, definitely losing some of the handling capabilities of the van, which is certainly disconcerting given that this is such a heavy vehicle. We can see that it's looking wobbly, crashing right through two vehicles right there, trying to keep going, and we see his hands on the steering wheel, and it looks like his tire may be flat.
And we definitely are seeing police rush in right now. He rear-ended that one vehicle, knocked the window out. Guns are drawn at this point, coming around to the driver's side, but could be hard to get that door open because that guardrail is right there. Looks like they're just going to yank him out the front window and get him down on the ground. 3 or 4 police officers trying to subdue him at this point in the grass right there, right off. We see a canine there off at the top of your screen. They're ready to be used if needed. And it looks like at least half a dozen HPD officers have him down on the ground and in custody at this point. And folks, I also want to give you some information. We just got into our newsroom. How this all started, we're hearing from HPD at 4:10 this afternoon. Someone called Houston police saying, I'm following a vehicle I believe is stolen. This all started on East TC Jester at 18th Street and is now ended here, where you are seeing what we are hearing from HPD that was a vehicle burglary suspect that has now been taken down after rear-ending at least one vehicle. Just slamming through a couple of them, trying to get through and having no choice but to finally stop, surrounded by officers. This chase finally coming to an end at the 9200 block of the Southwest Freeway. As you can see, they are going to get this guy into a police officer's car very quickly here. This is the exit right at Bissonnette. And so this is going to be a major issue for traffic, though this is on the frontage road where he actually did exit and then stayed on the frontage road for a little while. They're going to do a very careful search of this person. And again, you get the call for a stolen vehicle, but boy, those charges are going to be upped quite a bit right now. Some of those officers congratulating each other on what was a pretty remarkable chase, considering that hopefully the people in those vehicles that were just hit were not injured, and we saw so many close calls. Yes, we did, exactly. Let's go ahead and get you back now to the end of the chase here. As we saw, this is where he was coming up on that one vehicle, a little pop right there. You see the window get shattered out. That car is sent off to that driveway. He slams into that guardrail. Again, this was just moments ago from Sky IHD. That's when the patrol cruisers close in, guns drawn, and basically just yank him out of that driver's side window, toss him into the grass, take him into custody here. Let's just kind of watch this. Yeah, because you made the point that it was going to be difficult to open up that door, given that it was right up against the guardrail there. Close look at the suspect. Looks like, of course, he has no shirt on. Yep, and they're going to try to get this person into a patrol car after they continue to check him out. Lots of officers there on the scene. Again, the frontage road, Southwest Freeway, outbound, southbound at Bissonnette. This is probably totally closed off by now. Matter of fact, if we widen up our camera shot here just a little bit, we'll be able to tell if this is going to be a major issue for traffic. Because we're assuming, at least right now, that frontage road is going to be closed as they work on this investigation. Yeah, nobody's going to be getting through there. We're going to get some more information about this, and we will keep you updated. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
First in HD, this is 13 Eyewitness News, live at 5.
We are following breaking news in Southwest Houston this afternoon. A dangerous police chase in the middle of rush hour ends in a collision, and that was about a half an hour ago, where this vehicle here, this large van, zooming and maneuvering his way through traffic over curbs, walkways, and everything else, finally ending in a wreck there, driving on the wrong side of the road. Welcome to Live at 5. I'm Art Rascone.
And I'm Alona Carson, in today for Melanie Lawson. We brought you that police chase live as it was happening just moments ago, and we want to show you a live look at the end of that chase. This is the frontage road of the Southwest Freeway headed outbound, southbound at Bissonnette. And as you can see, they've actually started to tow off that truck. There is the silver van that was involved in this chase, and all those officers just now leaving the scene. They managed to get this cleaned up very quickly, so it's not a major problem throughout the rush hour and the rest of the drive time for this evening. But we picked up the chase along the East Freeway near Patterson, and from there it got pretty crazy, taking off down Shepherd.
Just look at this vehicle go in and out of traffic.